morning, everyone. Welcome to this session of the GreenWeek. Special welcome to the speakers and all the participants of this session on Natura 2000 logo, watching online from a range of places and backgrounds. I am Humberto Delgado Rosa, Director for Natural Capital in the DG Environment European Commission and your moderator. So to say some brief words on the session, it's a session with a set of 4 brief presentations and some 20 minutes for questions and answers. Beware also of the application Slido that allows you to post questions during the session and then possibly answering polls using the code EU GreenWeek 2021. I would thus invite all participants to send their questions as they like during the presentations. We may take up some immediately, otherwise they will feed the question and answer session at the end of the presentations. The session is in English, so we will all speak in English, all the speakers. Now, on the objectives, we will be discussing the use of the Natura 2000 logo for promoting sustainable services and products that contribute to the objectives of the EU Nature directives and the Natura 2000 network of protected areas. To say just some brief words on policy context. Well, Europe is occupied by humans for long and has some of the most densely populated areas in the world, yet there's a very rich and diverse natural heritage in Europe. And the Habitats and Birds directives aim to ensure the maintenance, the conservation of a healthy nature in the EU, providing a framework to protect species and natural habitats of community interest. And these directives, the nature directives, establish this largest coordinated network of protected areas in the world that we call Natura 2000, with some 27,000 sites. The network covers more than 18% of the land area and some 9% of the sea area of the EU. And now it's not getting less important, but more important. You may know that we do have a biodiversity strategy to 2030, aiming to get 30% of land and 30% of the sea covered by protected areas, including Natura 2000, but also nationally designated protected areas and other effective conservation measures. So Natura 2000 and its role for people and the economy will get even more important in the context of the EU Green Deal that we face nowadays. On some sustainability aspects of Natura 2000, Natura 2000 network combines different levels of protection with sustainable land and economic activity. So the approach to conservation and sustainable use is wide, ranging from strict to less strict protection, depending on the ecological requirements of the sites and species, but largely centered on the people working and living with nature and in nature rather than acting against nature. And there is indeed an increasing recognition that our natural environment underpins various sectors of our economy, including and notably tourism. So using sustainably our nature offers many opportunities to attract and encourage investment and development in rural areas, especially important in this recovery context. So this session exists because we believe that Natura 2000 logo will help raise awareness, promote local involvement, and add value to local products and services while giving more recognition to good management practices in Natura 2000 areas. So we hope the initiative will help engage local and regional authorities, stakeholders, the public, especially the young, with a positive agenda towards EU nature protection policy. There are indeed a growing number of initiatives that we believe are ready to tap into the opportunities that this logo can provide. And we will have several speakers today to share with us inspiring examples. Let me introduce now the first speaker. The first speaker is Lucia Iglesias Blanco. She's a policy officer in DG Environment in our Nature Protection Unit. She will introduce the concept of the Natura 2000 logo and its use to communicate the benefits that Natura 2000 can provide to local economies. Lucia, your turn. Please try to stick to 5 minutes. We don't have a lot of time, but we aim to have a bit of discussion in the end indeed. Lucia, your turn.
Thank you, Humberto. Yes, I will try to stick to the time and let the other speakers also explain their initiatives and have time enough at the end of the session to discuss with the participants. Thank you, everybody, for sharing your time with us today, and good afternoon. I would like to briefly present, after this complete introduction about our policy that Humberto has already done, the initiative that the Commission expects to adopt in the coming days, the use of the Natura 2000 logo in sustainable products and services by third parties. I just briefly would like to show what Humberto said about our Natura 2000 network, how it stretches across the 27 member states. And what I would like to stress here is that for this sustainable use and conservation that many Natura 2000 sites try to achieve, is that the managers of the Natura 2000 sites need to ensure that these human activities that could be allowed in some of these sites are compatible with the ecological requirements that the species and habitats that are protected there are met. So since the Habitats Directive was adopted and the logo was, since the logo was created in 1996, the Commission and the member states have been using it to identify Natura 2000 sites, and it has been also used for communication purposes on documents and publications in order to increase awareness about the Natura 2000 network. And here you probably could recognize the Natura 2000 newsletter or the trophy of the Natura 2000 award, some of the tools that the Commission has to promote and to give visibility to the network. However, the logo, the Natura 2000 logo, is not possible yet to be used in products and services. However, some member states and NGOs were interested in using it in this way. And the Commission, to support this initiative and to allow the logo to be used in these products and services, has drafted a license agreement setting up the conditions to ensure that the logo will not be misused and to promote these Natura 2000 practices in management, these efforts to conservation and to benefit local economies. So what the conditions to be met, the requirements to use this logo in sustainable products and services are mainly that these products and services have to be completely or significantly produced or provide in a Natura 2000 site. And that these products and services have to contribute to achieve these ecological requirements that the protected species or habitats in the sites have, or at least be fully compatible with them. And the benefits that the Commission expects to achieve with member states and stakeholders with the use of the Natura 2000 logo in sustainable products and services is to show the public what the Natura 2000 network is, how it preserves the European Union's biodiversity at the time it contributes to human well-being, recognize good management practices in Natura 2000 and the benefits that it provides to society. And we also think that it will help to promote sustainable activities that contribute to the preservation of the Natura 2000 values and will prompt partnerships and re-engagement of stakeholders. So in a nutshell, it will help to build bridges between nature, people, and economy. And as Humberto said before, we think that this initiative, it is very timely in this recovery of the EU in the context of the post-pandemic, COVID pandemic, and it is in line with the European Union Green Deal. So from my side, that's it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Lucia. It's very good to see that we aim to now allow this logo to have a wider use, more players, other levels, other stakeholders. Thank you very much for introducing. I will move to our next speaker, which is Noelia Vallejo. She is the head of sector on conservation plans and strategies in the Ministry for the Ecological Transition and the Demographic Challenge of Spain. Noelia is in charge of implementing a system designed by Spain to recognize sustainability of tourist activities in Natura 2000, in which the local could very well contribute. So Noelia, your turn. Please try to stick to 5, maximum 7 minutes, if you may. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Humberto. Thank you, everyone. Thanks. Hello to everyone, and thanks a lot to the Commission for organizing this event and for inviting us to give us the opportunity to share this system that we are trying, well, that we are actually implemented in Spain. So it's a pleasure to be here. To start with, I just wanted to highlight two assets very important for Spain, for Spanish well-being, for economy development, and for sustainability that come together somehow in this system. First of them is nature. Spain is one of the member states with the highest biodiversity, as it is shown in the big share of Natura 2000 areas in Spain. So this is, of course, an asset that we want to not only protect and conserve, of course, as a first stage, but also to recognize and to put into value and to make it visible. And the second would be tourism. Tourism is one of the most traditionally important sectors for Spanish economy and for employment, as I highlighted here with some data. And that it's one of the sectors that continues to increase even through the last years. And I wanted to highlight that there is a big potential, particularly for new areas of tourism, which are not the highest tourism activities or traditional ones, and in particularly nature-based tourism and tourism linked to areas of high natural value have a great potential for expansion and for the economy, but always need to be ensured in a sustainable way. So based on these two assets is a bit the basis of this system that I would like to introduce today. And this system is in the scope of a sectorial plan for nature, tourism, and biodiversity that was adopted in 2014, with the aim of integrating biodiversity objectives in the nature-based tourism sector. This sectorial plan aims to highlight biodiversity values, to provide visibility to Natura 2000, and to promote tourism activities in nature while fully respecting the conservation of these natural values. So on this basis, one of the main pillars of this sectorial plan was the development and implementation of a system that recognizes sustainability of tourism activities in Natura 2000 areas. And this system was adopted on July 2017. And since then, it is being put in place, and actually, recently, we have, the first 3 sites, Natura 2000 sites, have already joined this system during the last months. And there are now some 25 enterprises that are operating in these areas, which have also already joined the system. So what is the main objective of the system? It aims at promoting the development and sustainable management of nature-based activities, tourism activities in Natura 2000 sites, with the full engagement of both the tourist sector and the management authorities of the site. So it is a key pillar of the system that it engages the manager of the site, and we believe this is very important to ensure that the whole system is compatible with guaranteeing the objective of Natura 2000 protection and conservation objectives. So in general terms, the system aims at enhancing the recognition and putting into value the possibilities within Natura 2000, to improve the management of this site, and particularly the planning and the management of tourism activities in these areas that are, of course, activities that can be undertaken and even promoted, but it's important to ensure that they are in a sustainable way. It also aims at promoting the engagement, as I was saying before, of tourism businesses in the conservation of and management of the Natura 2000 sites, so to ensure that they have a role to play, and to provide recognition to voluntary commitments for sustainability of tourist activities. So how it works, what are the main characteristics of the system? The system is a voluntary tool, both for Natura 2000 managers and for the tourist business. So it is always a voluntary decision to join the system. It is coherent and compatible with other existing recognition schemes, such as the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism or other initiatives. So the procedure works as follows. First of all, the first stage, it's an initiative of the manager of the site to decide if they want to join the system. If they so wish, they have to fulfill certain requirements. Notably, they have to ensure that they are putting in place active management of the site, including the necessary means, that they have made a diagnosis, or they are well aware of the tourism activities that are developed in their site, and that if necessary, they put into place a planning or regulation of these activities if there needs to be some limitation or some characteristic. They also engage with some commitments, and in particularly, they commit to facilitate the implementation of the system and to help the private sector to liaise with the system. Then, as a second stage, if a site has been included in the system, then every tourist company that is operating in this site, they can also, on a voluntary basis, decide to join. If they so decide, the company must also fulfill some requisites, and in particular, they undertake some commitments to improve their environmental behavior and to put particular attention to the protection of the network and to contribute to conservation objectives by developing some activities that are, in every case, online with the objectives of the site as regards conservation, and also to the possible extent by contributing to these objectives through their activities. So they adopt good practices, and in any case, interested companies, they send their applications to the managers, and it's for the managers to decide if they can join the system, making sure that it is compatible with the objectives of the site. So just to finalize with, I just wanted to highlight that the final result of joining the system is that both managers and tourism operators that are developing their activities in this site, they are recognized for their activities and for the contribution to the Natura 2000 objectives. And they can then obtain the image of the system that it's relatively based in the Natura 2000 logo. So this is why it is so important to ensure the use of the logo in a coherent way. After all, the companies can benefit from a specialized promotion of these companies through the existing systems for the promotion of tourism activities, sustainable tourism activities in Spain. So this is why everyone, we believe, has something to gain with the implementation of this system. We are very happy that it's already being put in place. And well, I don't want to take any more time. I want to leave the time for discussion. So thank you very much for this.
Thank you, Noelia. This is an excellent example of how tourism and Natura 2000 can find synergies. And indeed, I'm convinced after the lockdown that so many of us have faced within apartments and urban areas, the potential of recovery versus ecotourism is huge. Thank you very much. We will move ahead to our next speaker, I will now introduce to you Jelka Brandenhoff. She's the Communications and Membership Officer of Eurosite, European Land Conservation Network, and she will present to us the initiative Branding Natura 2000 for the benefit of people, nature, and local economies, highlighting the benefits Natura 2000 can provide to local economies. She will present as an illustrative example the Terre de l'Oasis partnership that has been actually a Natura 2000 award finalist in the socioeconomic benefits category of the 2016 edition. Jelka, thank you very much. Please stick to your 5 to 7 minutes and go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you for the nice introduction, Ms. Delgado Rosa, and thank you, Ms. Iglesias Blanco, for your lovely presentation. Hello, everybody. First of all, I would like to start off to congratulate you on the Natura 2000 Local for Goods and Services. I am sure that many of the initiatives taking part in the Natura 2000 branding campaign are delighted with this news and with the opportunity to show that their work contributes to the protection of the habitats and species that are part of the Natura 2000 network. In this presentation, we will see very concrete examples of the benefits of Natura 2000 for people, nature, and local economies. And nature and Natura 2000 areas are not separate from people, but instead they embrace the interaction between people and nature to create benefits for the people living in and around Natura 2000 areas. And the branding campaign therefore aims to highlight initiatives and collaborations that showcase the direct value of Natura 2000 for local economies. Next slide, please. Before we dive further into the Natura 2000 branding, I would like to inform you on what the Eurosite network is and what it stands for. Eurosite is a network composed of 75 members. I know the slide says 74, but between submitting it, another member joined. So the number should be 75. And Eurosite provides networking, capacity building, training, information, advocacy, and awareness raising services for conservation practitioners all over Europe. Members and partners are organizations and individuals working on land and nature conservation issues for governmental and civic society organizations, and they do so within and outside of the EU. And Eurosite facilitates thematic working through working groups on economics and ecosystem services, wetlands and climate change, remote sensing, peatland restoration and management planning, and agriculture and biodiversity conservation, as well as through the Eurosite Twinning program. Next slide, please. In 2016, Eurosite decided it was time to broaden stakeholder involvement in the implementation of the nature directives by encouraging collaborations between site managers, farmers, and local businesses for the production of sustainable and nature-friendly Natura 2000 products, but also to support and promote the already existing Natura 2000 products. Taking part in the campaign serves as an advantage in that it provides a local platform, or it provides a platform for local entities to show how they are working sustainably and what the profits from utilizing ecosystem services in an environmentally friendly manner, how it can benefit. So over the past 4 years, we have been collecting and promoting such initiatives through the website www.natura2000branding.eu. This website showcases products produced in Natura 2000 areas, accompanied by inspiring background stories about these collaboration and the socioeconomic benefits, as well as the benefits to nature that are related to those products. And the website currently contains 9 of such stories, which indicate that Natura 2000 does not exclude human activities from the protected area, but that it rather gives priority to the sustainable use of the sites. And the searchable catalog currently contains 84 products, and it showcases a wide range of nature-friendly Natura 2000 products and services that are being produced in or provided by many different Natura 2000 areas around Europe. In total, the campaign covers 13 EU member states. Well, as you can imagine, products vary. For example, there is a collaboration that produced Gageleer beer. And for all the non-Dutch speakers, Gageleer translates to bakmortel in English. And this project contributes to the preservation of the Natura 2000 area Arendonk in Belgium. Another example is soap that contributes to the preservation of the Kočevsko area in Slovenia. And this product is a result of the Live Dynalp Bear project that aims to reduce human-bear conflict. I warmly welcome you to visit the website, browse through the initiatives and products, and get inspired by the many wonderful and diverse range of items and services. And to highlight a good practice and provide an example, we will take a closer look of one of the collaborations and the products that came forward, that came out of a partnership. Next slide, please. In 2010, Italian Eurosite member WWF OSC and a number of local cooperatives in the field of agriculture decided to join forces. And in doing so, they created the Terre OLC partnership. Carlotta Maggio of WWF OSC is here with us as well, and she will answer all your questions regarding the initiative during the Q&A session. So Terre OLC's mission is to produce and market organic products from Natura 2000 reserves and neighboring areas managed by WWF OSC. Today, there are 10 cooperatives of farmers and producers involved. They work the 38 hectares of fields in the Penna Regional Nature Reserve and the 20 hectares in the Orbetello Lagoon Nature Reserve in Tuscany, transforming its crops into organic food products. And right before the pandemic, we were fortunate enough to have our annual meeting hosted by WWF OSC in Italy. And we visited the Orbetello Nature Reserve and were able to taste some of the products. And so I can tell you from experience, they're really, really tasty. So in carrying out their mission, the Terre OLC collaboration aims to restore abandoned farmlands, develop a model of sustainable farming in protected areas and Natura 2000 sites that can be replicated in other reserves, very important. Demonstrate that sustainable economic activities are compatible with nature conservation, generate revenues for the nature reserves and conservation projects, provide new opportunities for local economies, and protect local traditions. The products are organic and certified, and food include wheat and spelt pasta, olive oil, honey, tomato paste, sea salt, legumes, and wine. New farmers can join with their products as long as they meet specific criteria. Products must be organic and certified. Products must be from the protected areas. Farmers must do conservation work for biodiversity, and farmers must adhere to WWF principles and guidelines. Next slide, please. Thank you. Results that have been achieved are very exciting, and I hope they will encourage and inspire you to those of you who intend to set up a similar partnership. So far, nature in the area has been restored, and the agricultural activities contribute to the 15.8 of organic farming that is being done in Italy. Biodiversity is increasing. There are signs that species diversity is improving. For example, bee eaters have been or have returned to breed in some of the areas. And WWF OSC is currently setting up structured monitoring to see how this is a direct result of the Terre OLC partnership. The partnership increased revenues for protected areas and conservation projects. It created new jobs for the local community. Products can even be found on the national market. And last but not least, Terre OLC provides us with healthy and nutritious foods. Next slide, please. Thank you. So in conclusion, Natura 2000 not only protects nature, but also offers socio-economic opportunities to its local economies and communities. In case you wish to share your story, product or service and have it included on the Natura 2000 branding website, please feel free to contact me or to fill in the form on www.natura2000branding.eu. Thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much, Zelka. You really show how Natura 2000 is a brand and how many products, including tasty products, can derive from it. Thank you very much. We will move ahead. By the way, questions are starting to reach us. None was directed to you, so I won't go back to the past speakers now. We leave the questions for a bit later. For the public, please keep sending our questions, sending us your questions. And we now move to the next speaker. Let me introduce you, Javier Gil, biologist, coordinator of the Pro Biodiversidad campaign. He will talk about the certification brand Pro Biodiversidad, which was developed to support the extensive sheep sector, halt rural abandonment, and improve conditions for biodiversity, particularly scavengers. It's an initiative that won the last edition of the Natura 2000 Awards in the socioeconomic benefits category. Javier, your turn. 5 to 7 minutes, please. Go ahead. I hope we have.
Now I.
Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I have a problem with my slides. Maybe you can pass it there. Well, thank you very much for permitting us to show you our program in these mountains of the Picos de Europa in Spain, northern Spain. To introduce ourselves, we are ONG. That we are working in the conservation and reintroduction of the bearded vulture in the Iberian Peninsula, especially on Pyrenees and now in the Picos de Europa National Park in northern Spain. Bearded vulture is just a vulture, but it has a difference between the others, because this bird eats only bones, not meat, only bones, and especially bones of goats, sheep, and this kind of animals, Cantabrian chamois, this kind of small animals. This bird was extinct in last century, in the beginning of last century, because the use of poisons to fight against, especially wolves and this kind of animals, wolves, bears, golden eagles, this kind of animals. Only 20 pairs survived on Pyrenees, and now we're trying to recuperate this population in other mountains in Spain. We're working in two ways. That is, one is the biologist way, the conservation, but also with the extensive livestock support with shepherds. Why with shepherds? Because lammergeiers or bearded vultures eat this kind of bones, and the livestock of this kind of cattle contribute to maintain the ecosystems in the middle of or high mountains. Next slide, please. When we talk with shepherds in meetings, in groups, they always say that the most important problem for them is the wolf, because the wolves are killing the cattle, and it's a big problem for them. But when we talk with them at home or in the stable, one by one, the problem is not only the wolf. When we ask them, can you imagine a mountain without wolves? Would it be enough good for your children to continue being shepherds? And they say no, it's not the only problem. There are other problems like low profitability. They earn a few money. They have very hard work, but not money for their products. They have to compete with the intensive sector. Is very important for that. Children, young people don't want to be shepherds because the work is very hard, and especially the long chain sales. If you ask them how much money do you earn with one lamb, later you go to the supermarket, you say, where is the money? Because this is very cheap, and in the supermarket is a lot of money. There are many money that disappear. We don't know where, no? And we decide to work in this line. This bird that you can see at right is a bearded vulture that was poisoned, not approximately 5-6 years ago, and it's important for us. This later I will talk about this bird. So our work nowadays is this brand guarantee that distinguishes and values agri-food products in Natura 2000 areas. Next slide, please. We tried that the chain between the shepherds and the supermarkets was low, without intermediaries, because this is the way for the shepherds can earn a bit more of money, and they can be shepherds for a long time. And also their children, their son, the young people in the villages that is going to the cities and is disappearing from the area. This change begins with the shepherds, and now we have eliminated the intermediaries and the supermarkets. Two the most important supermarkets in these mountains, that is Alimerka and Lupa, buy directly to the shepherds. And now a luxury group of restaurants or lots in Spain called Paradores de Turismo is very important. This place are going to use this meat of lamb for their menus. All this chain is certified by a company, and our work there is only to promote this program and coordinate all the chain between the shepherds, the supermarkets, the slaughterhouse, the transport, and this is what we earn. Not money for us, but more shepherds, more lambs, more cattle in the mountains. Next slide, please. The result of this project is we began to this project in 2018. In 2018, we have only 5 shepherds and 570 lambs. The number was increasing, and now in 2021, we finished this year in the first in June. We have 13 shepherds and more than 1,000 lambs sold. Okay? They are beginning to increase the number of cattle in the mountains, especially this kind of cattle, the sheep and goat. That is really important for the work that we do in these mountains. What is the profit for shepherd and from feeder? Their product is distinguished in the supermarkets in a special way, in a special place. So the long of the chain is small. So the money don't disappear in the intermediaries. The money goes directly from the supermarket to the shepherds, and they are earning 30-40% more than some years ago. They have social recognition. When you go to the supermarket and buy the lamb, there's the number of the shepherd, the name of their village, the name of the family, and it's very important for this. And we are contributing to maintain the lifestyle of shepherd. Now there are young shepherds that they are thinking about continuing being shepherds, and this thing was impossible 6, 7, 10 years ago. And for consumers, they have sustainable products in the supermarkets, local products. They know the shepherd. When you go to the supermarket, it's easy that you know the family and the name of the shepherd, and this is something very important for you when you go to buy these products. And we are helping these areas on Natura 2000 to maintain the local economy. And this is next slide, please. This is important. This is important for the area, not only for shepherds, but also for the rest of nature and ecosystems. For example, there is a circular economy and reduction of greenhouse gases. The rest of not consumable parts of the lambs go to a feeding station for scavenger birds, and the rest of scavenger birds, and not only them, also golden eagles, crows, Egyptian vultures are eating these products. Nothing disappear. We are conserving these mid and high mountains pastures and ecosystems, and this is a direct line between the shepherd, the landscape, the mountains, and the consumers. And this is what we are doing this year, this last year. And for us, the most important is that there are more people that are thinking in being shepherds. And if you remember the bearded vulture that was poisoned in the second slide, we know who was the man who poisoned this bird. Now his brother is working with us, and probably is abandoned the idea that the wildlife is a problem. They, in a way, they are beginning to think that the wildlife is not a problem, could be an opportunity to be better, to improve their life, and to continue living in this mountain. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Muchas gracias, Javier. Actually, I heard of your project before, and I think it's an excellent example of how you use the Natura 2000 as a way to pay the ecosystem service that grazing and proper management does provide. So thank you very much for bringing this example. We will follow up in discussion. Actually, at this stage, we have ended the presentations. Before we go to question and answers, I would like to present you a little video on Natura 2000. It's a short and very inspiring video on Natura 2000. It was published on the 21st of May, and it puts the spotlight on the links between nature and people's health and well-being. Can we go to the video, please? Okay, I hope you've enjoyed. So we'll now use the remainder of our time for some discussion. By the way, during this question and A part, we'll also have with us Carlota Maggio, the project officer of Oasis initiative that we heard about, and Conchi Galvez, the coordinator of the Pro Biodiversidad brand that we've just heard also. You can still send some questions to Slido. I cannot assure that we pick them all, but I will direct some of them to the speakers now that we go into the question and answers. And to begin with, I would pick one question that I'll address to you, Noelia, because it concerns tourism. The question being, if can a tourist company or service provider take the first step to join the system independently in the Spanish system? Would you wish to reply, Noelia?
Of course, thank you, Humberto, and thank you for this interest. This is not foreseen as such. So as I was explaining, the first stage has to be taken by the manager. And this is because it's very important to ensure that any activity contributes to the objectives and it's coherent with the objectives of the site. And for that, the engagement of the manager is crucial. So not as such in the system, but what is possible to be made is that if there is an interest by an enterprise, they can, of course, liaise with other operators in their area, or even themselves. They can go to the managers, they can go to the authorities, and they can show this interest. And by this way, the authorities can understand that there is an interest by the sector to undertake steps in this regard, and then they can work together to engage in this system. So that would be what I would advise if there is a particular private interest in this. Thank you.
Thank you, Noelia. I will move to another question. I'm directing each question to one speaker because for the sake of time management, I don't think we need to listen for 4 replies to each question. But of course, I want to make this lively. So if any of the speakers has something to add, just signal. But the second question I will address to Lucia, the question being, how do we strike a balance between exploitation and conservation? In the end, Natura 2000 sites have been created to protect land and marine areas. How would you reply to this, Lucia, please?
Thanks, Humberto, and thanks for this interesting question. Yes, Natura 2000 sites have been designated to protect the sites and land and at sea, concretely to protect some species and habitats, and depends on the ecological requirements of these species and habitats. These sites have different levels of protections and could allow or coexist with certain level of human activity and sustainable use. So on the one hand, we will need good knowledge about the sites, the habitats and the species protected there. We would need good management plans with concrete conservation objectives for these species and habitats protected there, and conservation measures to achieve these objectives. And on the other hand, we have, or the Habitats Directive has a procedure that in case a project could have an impact on the site, the project has to undergo this procedure, taking into account these conservation objectives of the site. So only the project could be allowed and could be possible. This activity could be only permitted in the site. It has not impact on the species and the habitats. So yeah, only in those sites where this is compatible and possible will be allowed.
Thank you, Lucia. I think what you're saying is that indeed sustainable use does not amount to sheer exploitation and can even help to the conservation. That's what we aim in Natura 2000. Thank you very much. I have now a question. It's again on tourism, but I think Jelka will be well positioned to reply because he's on tourism as a product. The question being, is it possible to put the logo of Natura 2000 in touristic tours, permitting the tour operator to use it for the greener tour? What would you reply to this, Jelka, please?
Well, thank you for the question. We have, or we do show tourist initiatives on the branding website as well, as long as they clearly focus on the benefits that the Natura 2000 area brings to the local economies. So I guess from that perspective, that yes, that would be possible. But of course, it's not up to us to decide if an initiative can carry the logo. I'd be more than happy to, if you fulfill those conditions that I just mentioned for being showcased on the website, I would be very happy to add the initiatives to the website. But the conditions of carrying the logo do not depend on us.
Thank you very much, Jelka. Maybe I could ask if Noelia, dealing with tourism also, can in your Spanish system a tour get the logo? Noelia.
Yes, in overview, well, in general terms, it's the enterprise that provides for certain activities, but yes, a tour or even, I don't know, some activity like bird watching or fauna watching or things like that. In overview, yes, this can be included in the system and this can be recognized by the logo, as long as it's clear that it, of course, is compatible with the regulations, with any possible limitations, and that, and also a requirement that we add is that it provides information about Natura 2000. So it not only provides information about what they are seeing, but they make the link and they also in this way promote acknowledgement of Natura 2000. So in our view, it should be as an activity that contributes to the objectives.
Thank you very much, Noelia. And let me now turn to Javier, or maybe Conchi also from the Pro Biodiversidad. Well, my question runs as follows. First, I very much like to hear that you may now bring some of the youngsters willing to become shepherds, because indeed this service that proper grazing delivers, including, for instance, on forest fire prevention, is probably less expensive than fighting fires with airplanes and so forth. But my question runs this way. I understood that you particularly address scavengers to your activities, but you did refer to wolves, and we have some problems on wolf expansion in Europe. So my question is, if your project is helping change the attitude of shepherds towards the wolves themselves and the presence of wolves, would you wish to intervene?
Yes, with our project, we are feeling that not many, but some of them knows that it's possible to live together with wildlife, and some of them are changing the mentality and are looking for models to fight against the wolf and fight against the wildlife with using other ways, not the poison, not this killing ways. For example, with big dogs, with other kind of things. So the answer is yes. They are beginning to change. We are only 4 years here doing this project, but some of them knows that there is other way to fight against the wolves. And sometimes some of them tell us that maybe they can live together with them, using big wolves, big dogs, and other ways to fight against wolves.
Thank you very much. You know, that helps a lot to our goal as Commission, which is indeed to foster coexistence. So I'm pleased to see a project that delivers on that. Now, yes. I have another couple of questions that they came in. I will maybe address one of them to Lucia again. In this sense, one of the questions is, how can we ensure that the partner that commits to using the logo sticks to the commitments afterwards? So what follow-up? There are some commitments they ensure, but then how can we be sure that partners commit to them in the long run? Lucia, would you wish to come in?
Yes, thank you. And yes, interesting and very relevant question. As I tried to explain, the Commission is preparing this, or it has almost ready this license agreement with the conditions for member states to comply with for the use of the logo and avoid this misuse. So on the one hand, they have to comply with the conditions of being produced in Natura 2000 sites and be fully compatible with conservation objectives. And the Commission and also a member state, one, it gives this opportunity to use the logo to a third party in the country. Both parts can, if the logo is not, it's misused, let's say, both parts can shoot it, can challenge it. And that's why, for instance, what I understood from the Spanish system is they concrete much more certain conditions, and probably they are more in a position to follow and to monitor that the logo is used under these conditions. But of course, the Commission also can do it.
Thanks a lot, Lucia. Now, there's a question that, although I'm only the moderator, I'm also director for Natural Capital, so I'll pick it myself. The question was, if Natura 2000 is seen as insufficiently protected and so many human impacts on biodiversity under this sixth extinction wave, should we have higher or fully protected status? My reply to that is, indeed, we are facing a grave global biodiversity crisis also in the EU. That's why we have the Green Deal and the Biodiversity Strategy to 2030, but the right recipe is not strict protection everywhere. It's more strict protection where the ecosystems, the habitats, and the species so require, more protection of all kinds. That's why we aim to 30% protection of land and sea by 2030, 1/3 of which should be strict protection. That's what science is telling us. But indeed, the socio-economic dimensions, the use, the livelihoods are a fundamental aspect of conservation and of biodiversity itself. So we do aim to conciliate. We have now some 5 minutes, and I would try to manage them in this way. I have one question that I would send to the whole panel for a very quick reply each. The question being, Natura 2000 as such is not widely known in the EU. There's a lot more to be done for it to be known. Of course, the word Natura sounds like nature, and nature is known by everyone. So my question is, do you think Natura 2000 is known enough for the logo to be picked up? Or will the logo itself also help to the recognition of Natura 2000? And I would go maybe again on the order of the speakers. Please, you cannot use more than 1 minute each. So Lucia, your 1 minute reply to this.
Thank you, Humberto. Yes, I would like to highlight that the logo is going to contribute, or this is the desire and the proposal that we have to contribute to make more visible the Natura 2000 network and contribute to other initiatives that the Commission has in place to communicate on Natura 2000 benefits, like the ones I mentioned before, the newsletter or the Natura 2000 awards.
Thank you, Lucia. Noelia, how is Natura known in Spain? Tell us.
Thank you. Well, I agree. We need to foster the acknowledgement on Natura 2000. For example, talking about our system, about nature-based tourism. There are many different protected areas, and sometimes the visitor is not clear about what we are looking. So that's why we think it's very useful to have the logo very clear, to make the people realize, if they don't already, okay, then what is this and why would I be interested in that? And also, I think the fact that we're talking about EU range coherent network, it's very interesting, because we are, of course, receiving visitors from all the world, but including many visitors from Europe. So the visitor that is coming from somewhere else in Europe might more likely know what Natura 2000 is, rather than a very local system of protection. So I think there is a lot of added value, and of course we believe that the logo will help in this work.
Thank you, Noela. Angelka, tell us from Eurosite, is Natura 2000 known enough?
Well, that's a difficult question, because I think in our field, yes, Natura 2000 is very well known, but for the general audience, yeah, that's difficult to estimate, of course. But I do feel that the logo can really serve as an encouragement for people who would normally perhaps not get that engaged with Natura 2000 or the Natura 2000 network to get on board and start initiatives or collaborations. And secondly, we at Eurosite are happy to support the European Commission in promotion and communication about the Natura 2000 logo for goods and services. So let's see what that will bring us.
Thank you. I wonder if your colleague Carlota would like to add not more than 1 minute, or you've replied enough. Is Carlota with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Quickly, please, okay?
Yeah, I think at a local level, what we've been seeing is that because we work in protected areas, and often we notice that not many people are well informed about the Natura 2000. So although it is mentioned, and although we continuously try to promote it, knowledge is still quite limited. So I think definitely having the logo will be a big asset in this sense. So I definitely agree.
Thank you very much. Let me then turn to Javier and Conchi. Do your shepherds know enough of Natura 2000? Please come in.
Well, with shepherds and the rural people that lives in mountain villages, it's difficult because they feel that Natura 2000 is something that protect the things that they hate. So what they feel is that Natura 2000 protect wolves, protect the wildlife, protect the bear, protect the golden eagles, but not protect them. We have a long way and a long work to do, especially in communication. We must achieve that they know that Natura 2000 is something good for them. It's something that can help them to live better. But nowadays they don't feel this sense. At least in the mountains of northern Spain when we work.
Thank you, Javier. I wonder if Conchi wants to add.
Conchi is not here.
Okay, no problem then. Well, we are actually reaching the end. I do hope that this logo will help to show people living in Natura 2000 that Natura 2000 is there as an added value for them, also to protect them. As we've heard now, that's still an issue. I will close only by reminding that the 2022 edition of the European Natura 2000 Award is open for applications until the end of September. So anyone involved in Natura 2000 can apply, and we are very much willing to receive successful initiatives, just as the ones we presented today in the session. So a big thanks to the speakers, big thanks to the participants. I think we have extracted some value also from this session on the Natura 2000 logo that should add value to many products and services. Thank you very much.